All right, let's go. We'll call to order to the committee of the whole meeting Wednesday, August 6th. 6:52 p.m. Call please, Kim.
Babcock,
Here.
Simon,
Here.
me,
Here.
Wright,
Here.
Clock,
Here.
Rhoda.
Here.
Thank you. That's a set. That's it. Got it.
Approval of the minutes for the meeting of the committee of the whole from July 15, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
Right,
Yes.
Clock,
Yes.
Rhoda,
Yes.
Babcock,
Yes.
Simon,
Yes.
me.
Yes.
Thank you.
Public comment, folks here. Another chance at the end of the meeting. Think nothing. Old business, discussion and recommendation of a professional services agreement with Place Foundry LLC to provide economic development consulting services to the village of Roscoe. I believe this was our search for a monthly quote for the I-90 project plan.
You've got the proposal in your packets, same scope, just I-90. We also put in there the business, if you were to add it on the business district, consulting for the Business Alliance. Then add on feature on there. Something to consider, I would ask that you please consider to think about having him continue that at least through the end of the year to keep them moving forward. But if pieces of down the task one is that Rockton Road project. Essentially, what we talked about last time, it's putting together, sort of a plan of action and what we're going to be doing, how we're going to sort of move forward with that. Leading some of the meetings with the stakeholders in the area, so the different landowners in that locations. Putting together, the sort of reference materials that we can use to help market those properties based on what we discussed and which we have with the landholders there, landowners around there. Initial engagement requests and letters have gone out, so we're gonna try to get those meetings set up next few weeks here with the owners of those properties, at least the initial core owners of the sort of directly around the Rockland Road I-90 area. And we've got sort of contacts for areas out, spreading out a little more from there, but we'll start out with ones who are the main property owners in that area. Start to meet with them, see what they want to see, what their plans are for those properties. A lot of longtime farm families owning some of those properties, who've held that properties for a while. Sometimes they've contacted us in the past, interested in maybe selling, or the kids now have properties. So it's just working with them, talking with the owners, figuring out what they want to do with those properties, and then trying to get sort of a plan put together about, based on that, what we want to do with that.
Also sharing with them the infrastructure designs that were approved and paid for that are out there, so that they have an idea of where we're going, what it will look like eventually. If it fits in with what they have planned.
We do have the request in AOC just to keep the Business District Alliance 501(c) sort of moving forward with that. That group has met, they're meeting weekly, every 2 weeks, and they're meeting together right now. They've got their core group put together. I believe we're having somebody next week
Yes,
available.
on the 19th.
Yeah,
On the 19th, Katie Thompson will address the board to acquaint everyone with everything that they have done. They have worked on bylaws, and they will have filed by then, so.
So the 501(c), the Business Alliance unit, that's separate from I-90, right? This is.
correct, yeah, it's a separate, we just asked him to put it on there for a number. Obviously, that's an option the board can decide on.
Yeah, okay.
How much is it for I-90 alone?
32,500.
And then it's an extra 7.
So yeah, it's 500 per month for that, and then additional. Yeah,
No, it'd be an additional 7,000.
that'd be additional
New option.
1,000, right?
Now, question I have with that is, will the nonprofit be set up then by the end of the year? Is that 5-month period gonna be enough
Yes,
to go? Because we've had discussion. Before I was even here, just a meeting.
Yes, yes.
Talking.
And that's what Katie is going to bring everybody up to speed. They have been, under the supporting umbrella of, Place Foundry. They have reviewed bylaws, they have, organized themselves. They have responded, figuring out what they want to do next, so on and so forth. So they've been moving at warp speed, shall we say? And she'll, answer your questions and explain what they wish to do next.
Are we not invited to those meetings anymore?
It has been it's,
We're not going to,
Yes.
I mean, it's
Yeah,
the, it's
yes,
their group,
yes.
it's that core group that
it's,
got.
it's their group. They've been doing it Zoom to get the, board together.
So when Katie comes, you can inquire if they want public, yeah, if they're ready for public input or ready for, you know, public servers or village observers for it.
Did we, approve option A and table option B until after we hear from ladies?
I'd do a motion to do I-90 for now. Go back to the board.
Can I make one request of the quarterly sessions of this board is to keep the time at a regularly scheduled meeting time at 6:30 p.m. instead of 4:30 or 5 o'clock. When many residents can't, I can't come.
For which board? For
For the
the,
planning
Strategic
session,
planning sessions.
you want some to be at 6:30.
oh, for Diane. An evening session for our project.
On the monthly progress reports to the village board, will that be Place Foundry or will that be, who will be giving the report?
Oh, place fund.
It'll be my bi-monthly now, it says on the new contract. So it'll be at each meeting.
I'd like to, have you entertain the idea of continuing Place Foundry's support of the Business Alliance. It has been with the guidance of Place Foundry that they have been able to get organized, and the individual members of this founding board were those that requested the support of Place Foundry as they go forward and organize themselves and have recommendations for recruitment. So to pull away that support at this time jeopardizes their ability to continue the good work that they have been doing.
I'll raise my motion again.
I'm sorry, did you call for a motion?
Yes, I
or
did,
you
sir.
Make a motion.
Made a motion to
Okay.
move the I-90 to the board.
I wasn't sure. If you make a motion, there should be no discussion until you get a second. So for the
Okay.
future,
Do you have a motion?
you made a
All
motion.
right, it's for I-90.
I'll second that.
Okay.
For option A.
For option A,
Option A.
Discussion.
no discussion.
There could be more discussion.
Yeah.
I have a question as far as option A and option B. Is option B set at a price because it's bundled with option A? If it was chosen outside of this scope, would it be more expensive down the road?
No, I don't believe so. I believe this is based on, initially, when we were talking about it having the one, it would have been the same amount, so now it's. Status point it has to.
I think that my suggestion is we approve the I-90 and then have Katie come in and then we could have her talk to us. And then we could, if after she answers our questions and things, then we could decide if that's something that we want to move forward with Place Foundries for that. She might have some other thoughts as to if they can do it organically or within the group. So I think we should wait till hear from her first.
Motion for option A again.
I think it's already on there.
We already have.
Discussion.
You ready for a vote?
Yes, yeah, we have a second.
Okay.
You call for the vote because you're the chairman.
Okay. Vote please, Ken.
Clock,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Broda,
Yes.
Babcock,
Yes.
Simon.
Yes.
Mead.
Yes,
Thank you.
So on the 19th, Katie presenting to the board or committee?
What do you do?
And
Actually,
I'm just asking a question. Could we have her present to the board? So this way, if we decide to move forward, can move that forward with the committee of the whole that day for the following month's meeting?
It would be on the agenda then, option 2 on the committee of the whole after Katie's presentation at the
yeah.
board.
So you just say yes or no at that point. then.
Why wouldn't we have it at the committee of the whole when we're gonna vote on it right after she speaks? I think that would be more helpful to have continuity.
But
wouldn't-
yes,
It
John,
wouldn't follow through until the following meeting. It wouldn't go on to the village
it
board
delays.
first. So we could ask for it to come to the village board as a first reading
Yeah, okay.
and then suspend the rules if we feel like it. Or can we do that or?
Well, my understanding is if she came to the committee of the whole and it was also on the committee of the whole to recommend to the board, then it would, 2 weeks later, it would be on the board.
Right. So there you go.
Then you might suspend
But
it.
I just
to
wasn't sure
vote
if
on
we
it
were
that
streamlining
night,
this.
approve that night, could we have her present at the board and then
So
just
you-
as a first
They're
reading?
saying so
You're
that we
saying-
could have the option to vote that night.
We'll put it on 2 separate items then on the board is what you're asking for. One would be under or under like approvals for this that we talked about tonight, and then one would be under new business for the
Where you have to.
other
suspend
one, where if you want to go forward with
Push
the.
it through.
You could do that.
That's okay.
Right.
That way everything can be decided that nothing's being delayed.
Right, 'cause I also see like their contract starting for, August 1st. So I'd like to try to get it streamlined as much as possible.
If it makes sense.
The only issue is the village board meetings first before the committee of the whole, so we have it in new business and the.
That's okay, because it just rolls under the bill.
Okay.
It's a separate item from what we just did, so.
Everybody good?
Thanks.
Yes, sir.
New business, number 3, discussion of Main Street redevelopment plan and options for its implementation. This is an item that handed over to our village of Green to talk about TIF business districts, such.
Yeah, so I am happy to do that. To the extent you have a Main Street project, a Main Street development that you're looking to see move forward. Those are sometimes driven by developers who come forward and say, I have an interest in doing something on a particular group of lots or in a particular area. And so then you might move forward with either a TIF or a business district. As frequently, communities will develop a TIF or a business district in order to draw in the developer. We already have TIF in place, we already have BD in place, and this will help us defray costs of the development. So what is TIF? Tax increment financing. And again, I can't tell you how to develop the Main Street corridor, but I can tell you if you put one of these in place, assuming it's eligible, it gives you a tool, valuable tool to deal with the land, deal with the developer and incentivize. Process for a TIF is you need to retain a consultant. And the consultant will do an eligibility report. So it's possible certain properties won't qualify. There is an eligibility study that needs to be completed. Resolution approving the eligibility report. There's 4 action items in a TIF. First one, I believe, is a resolution approving the eligibility report once it's completed by the consultant. I've worked with Kane McKenna, now Ryan, on probably 6 or 7 of the TIFs I've been involved with. Worked on a different consultant whose name escapes me right now on 2. And there's a 3rd consultant in Southern Illinois that I am aware has come up to this area and assisted communities, and I can get that name needed. If the eligibility report is positive, then the consultant will develop a plan and project. Okay, they'll develop an entire plan and project. It'll have a budget. It'll have what you're looking to do. Obviously, there's a lot of input from the village board before a plan and project is completed because it needs to reflect the desires of the community, the desires of the corporate authorities. The plan and project, then there are notices that go out to all property owners as they're moving forward to get to the approval of the plan and project. There's public hearings. you have to, there's a statutory, a joint review board that is created, and the members of the joint review board are set by statute. It's like library district, fire protection district, county, and Machesney Park, the Rock Valley College sits on it. North Park Library District sits on it, fire department sit on it. All the tasking bodies basically within the area. They are given a presentation, they hold a public hearing, and provide input to the village board. In addition to the plan of project, basically when you get through the process of the public hearings, the joint review board, presentations, 3 ordinances come before the board. An ordinance approving the plan of project. Generally, these all happen the same night in domino. Basically, you approve the plan of project, you approve an ordinance designating the area that will be subject to taxing and financing. Then you approve an ordinance adopting financing. What the easiest way to describe, you're probably aware of what taxing and financing is, but I'll reference it again in simplest terms. If you take a vacant piece of ground that's worth $200,000 and you end up putting a grocery store on it, now it's worth $2 million. Real estate, there's no increase in real estate taxes. There's no additional real estate taxes. Real estate taxes that existed on the $200,000 piece of vacant land is the base. When the $2 million grocery store ends up on that piece of property, now the tax goes from 20,000 to, 300,000. The increment is the difference between the 20 and the 300,000. That 280 goes into an account that can then be spent on incentivizing development, spent on any number of things. There's a whole list, including providing reimbursement to developers that are building, doing infrastructure improvements. You can't pay for a building going vertical, but you can pay for a myriad of other things associated around the building. If they are taking a building and renovating the building, you can actually pay for the costs associated with the renovation. Machesney Park Mall, for example, TIF dollars were used as they tore out the interior of that and put in that nestery, the bar and storage down on the end. So things like that.
So if you have an empty lot,
Empty lot is the cleanest,
Yeah.
but if you have buildings and they need to be renovated, they'll go from a relatively low value to a relatively high value. Well, Machesney Park, Henning has obviously now become a huge corporate citizen of Machesney Park, and all of the buildings they developed are within TIF. So we have had the opportunity to assist, that community has had the opportunity to assist that. So the lasts for 23 years, although the 251-173 TIF was extended for 13 years, 12 years, so it can ultimately go to 25 years. It requires a legislative act, but if you went into the statute and looked under that section, there's like 200 individual legislative acts where they've extended TIFs. So it is possible to have it extend 35 years. So that is a tool that really doesn't cost. The joint review board is made up of the taxing bodies who will not see the benefit of that building that land going from being worth $200,000 to being worth $2 million. Okay, so the school district isn't going to get they're only going to get their 60%. School districts get about 60% of the property tax. They're still only going to get 60% of what it was taxed at 200,000. All the rest of it's going to go into the tax increment fund. So that's why they're there. You have to make sure they appreciate you're getting zero on the vacant land now. If we do this long term, you're going to get a huge amount of money. And there are when the TIF was extended in Machesney Park, agreement was made that they would declare it was extended because they wanted to see development on specifically about a quarter of what hadn't developed yet. It was determined that we couldn't carve out an end. It was too difficult. So we extended the entire TIF but agreed that every year we would declare a surplus. So every year about an $800,000 surplus is declared, and all that money then goes out to tax. So they are seeing an immediate benefit. In fact, school district liked it more because receiving it as a declaration of surplus, which ends up being treated differently in their budget than with just regular taxes. And there was a benefit for that. Okay, so that's a tip, that's a tool. You would have to have a consultant come up, take a preliminary look to see if corridor is eligible, what portions of it are eligible. Again, I keep using McChesney Park because they've got 6 and I was involved in all of them. They have a TIF that runs down the west side of 251, starting at Lowe's Park Auto Parts up at 173. And it's kind of that whole piece, then it kind of skinnies down and goes along until you get to the mall. And it's that whole piece of property. And then it kind of skinnies down and goes down to where the old Love's is. Now it's Michelson's and Goodwill. So you can have it kind of be long and kind of grab stuff along the way. So that's,
In general, about a couple of specifics, what makes a particular tract of land or however distance it is eligible or ineligible for?
so there are blighted factors, and blighting is, you know, for example, in situations where you have properties that have been vacant, that are underdeveloped, that have been underutilized, or property that is vacant and has not seen any interest in development. Those are that in a very simplistic, because I'm not a TIP consultant that does the eligibility report, but in a simple statement, they're looking for blight, they're looking for lack of activity, they're looking for stagnant property. And you know, if property's been sitting vacant for 20 years, that probably qualifies. If the property's sitting there with a building that is not being utilized, or a house was torn down and there's a shed on it, it's just sitting there for years, I would see those as qualifying. I don't have a handle on exactly what's along the corridor here, but so that's the process for a TIF. Business district is different. It's simpler. There is no eligibility report. There is a redevelopment plan. The same consultants have done the business districts that I've been involved in, as did TIFs, and sometimes there's a business district in conjunction with a TIF. But you have to appreciate the revenue for a business district is generated by an additional retail sales tax. So if anything that is generated, any retail sales, service or sales that are generated within the business district, up to the max is 1%, but you can do it in quarter increments. That gets carved out and put into a separate fund and can be utilized to provide back to the developer to, it's like a sales tax rebate out of this special tax that gets imposed. Those have been found to be pretty successful and pretty beneficial for the retailers who come in. I mean, a tax is a tax. I'm not going to soft sell that, but we have not generally seen people say, I'm not going to go to that store because it's 7% instead of 6%, or it's 8% instead of 7%. The additional 1% does not seem to cause people to go elsewhere. The sales tax also then generates funds from people who live outside the community. So you're having a lot of people who live in the community, obviously shop in the community and pay sales tax, but also people who come from outside the community are helping to fund the development. So that is a approval of a redevelopment plan, and then the imposition of the tax. There is no joint review board in that. It's because you're not taking any money from a taxing district. The joint review board is made up of the representatives of the taxing district and TIP. So there's no need for that. There are notices that go out on all properties that'll be to the general public with regard to plan to do a business district. And there is a public hearing and findings that are put into the ordinance. And once imposed, then the additional 1%, as I said, it can be less. The ones I've been involved in have usually been the full 1%.
And that goes for, I believe it's 23 years. And so, again, that's a way to, if you can get a retailer to say, we'll give you 1% of your sales back. That is a way to get them to spend the capital, to build the store, open the store, develop.
Streetscapes,
Street.
lighting.
Yeah,
Question, could Roscoe define its business district from Casey's all the way up to the hardware store? Business district being that entire length, because if you just look at the corridor right here in front of this building, you don't have businesses that are going to generate any money. You have to go after those that will generate the dollars you're speaking about. So if you do it from Casey's through Main Street and end up with the businesses at Main Street Square, if that's possible, then what percent of those businesses would have to agree to be part of this business district? Is it a simple majority? Is it 60%, 70%?
I don't think it is a function of the property owners or the businesses agree. It is a
Yeah.
board decision. I don't believe the redevelopment plan where the business district is so much streamlined than the TIF. I don't believe there are blighted factors, or I mean, I think you just define the area and can move forward to it, but that's a question I want to double check with the consultant on.
So the same consultant would look at both of those types.
Can, yes, I mean, generally, again, we've used a guy named Chuck Durham. Chuck Durham years ago used to work for the city of Rockford, I mean, like 25 years ago. He's been in the Chicago suburbs or in Chicago, working first for Kane McKenna. And we did work with Mr. Kane for a while, but then Chuck Durham took it over. And on most of the TIFs and business districts that I've been involved in, except for a couple in Loves Park that I was involved in, where the city
I
attorney.
think we've
in Loves
used
Park-
Ehlers before here. I think we had
Ehlers,
Ehlers.
you know what, one of the first ones we did
Yeah.
was Ehlers, you're right.
I think that's who Rockton has for their business.
With your experience in all this, like Rockton Road, for instance, what would you see being better out there with all the vacant land that's around it?
I am reluctant to give you an opinion on that because it's really not a legal opinion. I don't know. And it's
Well,
not
I'm just asking for a personal.
I don't know. It's difficult for me to completely comprehend what the eligibility study would cover. You don't want to create a TIF around a property that's already up and running.
Mhm.
I mean, what's the point? You're not going to generate any
It's not
income.
related.
Yeah, well, plus it's already got a height. It's got a tax value of a going concern.
Right.
It makes more sense to create TIFs on vacant land where you then go vertical with and, quadruple the value. Or they're blighted with rundown buildings on them and you completely renovate the building.
Winter break,
Again.
sorry, yeah, we have winter break here. That's the village's tip we have. That's what I think you guys work on that as well.
So could you do business and tip right next to each other?
I think you can do them over the top of each other, to be honest with you. I think we have a couple that are right over the top of each other where we have both.
So with our two vacant properties, your suggestion might be which one?
Well, I don't know which two vacant properties exactly you're talking about. I need to see a map and look at it, but
It likely wouldn't be the two vacant properties, right? It was just maybe the whole.
it would like, yeah,
Yes, too.
small single lot TIFs make no sense to me because the cost associated with developing the eligibility report, the plan project, and you're better off trying to pay the money to the consultant once. As opposed, there would be some level of package deal if they were spot properties all along this road, but I think you need to get the consultant in. To do a drive-by, or nowadays they just go on Wingist and kind of look at it and study all the data and say, yeah, I think we can help you here, or they'll give you the opinion, I don't want to waste my time because I don't think the eligibility report's gonna work out.
I know we really want Main Street to develop and stuff, but if we were gonna start this process, I think it would make more sense to start in Rockton with the larger area. There's more potential there for larger businesses.
But the TIF consultant's probably not gonna think that area is gonna need is like we were saying, right?
It isn't blighted.
Right, it's not an area that's.
It's not blighted, it's
It's
not
not
blighted or
qualified
vacant.
to-
And again, if you're already seeing a high real estate
Used My
tax.
entire life, so that's more than 30 years.
Only because the landowners
Yeah.
have sat on it.
Yeah.
Once they,
Well, they're not sitting on it. Well, a lot of it's for sale right now. And then that northwest corner's for
Well,
sale, everything for
14,
sale.
15 million dollars.
I've seen unsuccessful,
Is,
well, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say, I think we're going around and around here. I think that I would like to make a motion that we get a consultant
Yeah.
in here to discuss this, because these are all hypotheticals and we're asking these.
Make it look at
You know,
the.
I know how to make them. I know how to do the ordinances, but I don't know how to study the land and confirm whether it's blighted or not, or whether it's, you know.
I'd like to make a motion on the floor, you know, to move forward with, getting a consultant in here.
The process would be, but to put out a request for proposal for consultant or.
I wouldn't recommend that approach. I mean, I'd pick one or two and talk to them and get someone you like to give you a 40,000 foot look at the community.
To be able to shortlist to
I do,
provide-
I think we.
They'll come in and look, they'll come in and look at it, give us
Look at
a
everything.
Yeah.
general idea before we hire them.
Yeah, I want to talk to them first and say, can you sit at your own desk on your own computer, look on Windows, look at an overview and say, yeah, I'd like to come out and give you guys a proposal, whether it's Ryan, whether it's Ayers, there's another one. You know, have them take a look at it. Joe and I can kind of talk and contact a couple, well, I can contact them,
Business district portion, I think, too, particularly for Main Street, and then, like I said, we can look at I-90 for. But I don't know if it's eligible or not, I don't know if they're. Probably look at those really.
So motion to move forward with getting a consultant in relation to the tap business.
When you say getting, well.
I think right now, I think just this discussion is probably good, right? After we have a formal.
Yeah, I'm not sure we even need a motion, but if you want to do one, it doesn't hurt.
Is this,
Just
is this
direction.
needed to, with our properties that we have on Main Street?
It would.
One of these is a must before we develop those?
We own, so if we got rid of them, we would have to, if we disposed of them, we would have to do it within the confines of the statute. And we talked about generally, you shouldn't buy you should buy property for a public purpose. Public purposes are parks and playgrounds and parking lots and things like that. Communities without absent a TIF or a BD shouldn't be just speculating on buying property to put it. That's.
What's a PD?
Business district. Okay, sorry.
You threw me off there with your.
We're throwing another.
I will also say, I've used this tool, both of those have the. Excuse me, second. So if you have a piece of property that you think is appropriate for development and the property owner is not interested in selling it and it's totally board's call, you can have it appraised. You pass a resolution to say we want to explore, we want to authorize starting an eminent domain process. You get it appraised, make a good faith offer. And if the property owner refused to sell, then you could proceed with a court action where they would have the right to get their appraisal and you'd have the right to use your appraisal and the judge would ultimately decide what the request was. We did that in one of the communities. I've done it several times, but it's much politically, it's much better to work on
Yeah.
as opposed to
Avoid litigation as people try to.
But that tool is there. That's all I've got.
So do we have a consultant or a discussion, or have somebody come in and talk to the board, or have these discussions at the next committee of the whole? Is that a possibility? I know you guys are gonna be talking to somebody, but it would be helpful for us to have some background and some information on
Try or a few weeks, depending on.
it.
I don't
Or
know.
within, or maybe make it a target to have it within the next,
Next couple
Within the
meetings.
next
Oh, yeah, next couple meetings.
Are we looking to hire somebody before the end of the year? Because we didn't budget for this.
Well, I think this is just for them to come in and talk to you, all of you, and say, hey, here's what we generally think this might be eligible for a TIF. They're not gonna give you a definite answer, but they'll say, yeah, this probably looks like it. They'll probably give you a rough scope of the distance, the size, especially the business district, right? How far we want to do it, or if there's a TIF on Brockton, how roughly how big it would be or how many properties they think might work with it. I think that's what you're asking for right now.
Yeah, budget is coming up, so it'd be perfect time to have this ahead of time, so we have a discussion.
It would be hard to get TIFs in place before the.
Oh, yeah, I know, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, just having a budget for concern.
Sure.
Talk about it next year.
That's my report on that issue.
Thanks, Tom. Appreciate that, yeah. Number 4, discussion and recommendation of contracting with McMahon and Associates to perform engineering and construction management services for the Riverside Park Pavilion replacement.
A little bit delayed out here just because we were waiting to get some EPA information back, but this is a proposal for rebuilding the design engineering portion of it for rebuilding the Riverside Park.
This is how much bid, I mean, okay.
Just because we had McMahon do the initial, they were the ones who did the structural review of it, so we asked them if they got a proposal for this as well.
So will we get Fairgrounds proposal as well?
We can ask them, if you like that, they're gonna do it as well.
So are we putting a metal building where that pavilion is? We're building out the pole barn.
It'll be another shelter, similar.
Okay, because I'm sorry, I'm looking at just the bid for engineering and all like that. I mean, just in my experience, I've worked for companies that build pole barns. They're a lot cheaper than what we're getting bid just for engineering.
I mean, the price of the actual structure is gonna be.
I know.
Over $100,000.
Yeah.
Roughly $150,000, so.
Way more than what you're thinking.
Yeah, it's not gonna be, it's gonna be well above that, but. I think Fairground was going to submit a proposal to us, I don't think we ever got from them, but we can get on them again to take us something.
And I'll just put ignorance on this, but it's 10 4x4s. Some cement and roof.
It's the.
Materials are cheap, the labor
It's- Labor.
No,
is- it's-
And I get it's labor on that. I mean,
Yeah.
you don't
It's-
$15,000 for engineering
Well,
and.
that's why we get Fairground, and we gotta bid it out, to see what's what, right? I think that would be.
I mean, if you were telling me it's 30 grand to build it, I'd be like, okay, but this is just to get engineering drawings and.
Work through to work through the whole process of it, thing, yeah, no, things are expensive, absolutely,
The
absolutely.
pavilion and Costco Township.
Yeah, well, that was.
Yeah, I get that spun a bit out of control. That was
almost.
Yeah.
They looked at work buildings, they looked at all kinds of
So
stuff.
things are
Everything was
expensive.
over 250, but ultimately it was like 500.
I just think it's good to have more than one
Can get,
folks look at it, so I would like to. Propose out that we put it out for bid to
Yeah,
Fairground as well.
I'll just
We'll
get a
just get an
proposal,
RFP.
I'm just getting a proposal from them, that's okay,
So then I guess we don't need any
Yeah, I
action.
want to just table this for now.
that's fine, yeah.
All right.
Thank you. Public comment? Let's do presentation. Go ahead and present.
When are we gonna start the budget process? I know we talked about August and are we going to include some training around our new system? For all the new members and the old members, because it was.
I'll just give you printouts, I think that might be the easiest one to do that, we can, yeah, absolutely, anytime if you do training on the system, feel free to come in anytime you want, we can absolutely do those, we're starting the budget, we're working through, we got the initial rough draft of the residential roads program, so that will come into you shortly. We're starting to getting all of the capital projects put into the system right now, that's what staff's working on. Request for everybody else here too is, and I think we had a request before, I don't have any yet, but make sure if you've got ideas for capital projects you want, raise a 5-year program. Send those to me, send those to Brandon, and we'll get those started, put those in the system. We'll sort of work through some of those, we'll, do sort of our own internal prioritization of that, get some estimates, then you guys will have a chance to, you will be the ones to prioritize and structure what we're gonna be doing over the next 5 years, so. Yeah, we've started that process currently, so we are working on it right now. But yeah, if you've got ideas, if you've got capital projects or capital purchases you want, or you have ideas for, send those to us, absolutely. I don't think we have any yet, but from staff, from trustees, but anytime.
When's the first draft coming to us then? What? meeting?
For the capital.
Just the budget,
Probably the beginning of September
first meeting.
for the operating budget.
Overall.
Yep.
Question about the performance reviews. Are we gonna, when are they gonna start? And it's gonna look like there's a new format.
Yeah, I can send those out to you, the forms. Those will be the end of this month. We're gonna be doing those.
Does that include who does them, when they're done?
Whoever the truck supervisor is, so. For the most part, it's Troy's Catholic Works. I've got most people here. And Sam's got his folks over at the PD. That's generally.
And then who does yours, Joe?
You, oh, Carol will do it and then preside with you guys and you. Once yourselves.
We have to have some recommendations.
Could you just publicly provide an update where we are with Torta Park?
I guess we're going, the proposals, I'm looking at proposals for design, continuing to do those. And we'll bring those to you guys.
We're gonna be able to build something in here.
The plan, or it's sort of split out separately, so probably the pads will be there. The issue, and then we think we can get we'll get the sewer and water is not an issue. It's gonna be within the bridge at some point. It's figuring the bridge portion of it and what our intention, what your intention was for the bridge. And that's sort of the issue we're sort of working through, we think, with the state on that.
The parking lot.
Parking lot is a separate, that's not parking for us. We'll be more into it,
Gotcha.
that's
Do we have a deadline on that?
separate,
Yeah.
May next year.
May of next year?
Yeah.
That's what I want.
You don't spend it, you lose it, and then
That's what I thought.
you're very unlikely to get
Get it again.
another. You don't spend it.
Final update. The steel at the parking lot or here, I mean, we have an update on what's going on.
Yep, that is waiting for the county and President Ghosted has been, yeah, I'm working with our county board members to
Yes, I
get
rattled
the
some
permitting,
cages today.
the building department on that, but once we're still waiting for the building department to approve the permits for that.
So we were.
That's the issue. It's been with them for quite some time. We've been pestering them, but we've been working with county board members to encourage them to continue the review, get the review moving. But once that gets once the go ahead goes, I think it was 6 weeks, I think, to get the whole thing up. Manufacturing it, bring the whole thing, but yeah,
But all the.
it'll be by the end of fall here.
That had to be done again because they're re-engineered, is that
Yeah.
Correct,
And
yeah.
refabricated.
all done? So it's
And
no
the-
slow to start.
And the
Square
county
one.
has to approve
The county has to
the
approve.
engineering.
Yep.
So that was the
Did
delay.
the county approve them the first time?
Yes.
They tried to split it up.
If I try to bring it up, yeah.
It didn't work, so.
Okay, very good.
Thank you.
Any others? Motion to adjourn? Motion to adjourn.
So moved. Or second. whatever.
I motion to
We
adjourn.
got a motion in a second.
All right,
So Brian, right?
Justin,
All in favor?
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
7:36 P M.